Hello everyone, this is Menz here. I'm going to be playing the Tier 5 British Premium Heavy Tank, the Excelsior. Now this match ends up being, it was a friggin' awesome match. It happened during one of my live streams, so I'm going to be doing a recording over the replay of it. That way I can give a little bit more insight into, my thought process behind it. However, this tank, it has preferential matchmaking, pretty good frontal armor, very good rear armor too, but the sides are extremely weak. The gun on it, it lacks a little bit of accuracy, a little bit of penetration and DPM at times too for its alpha, but it kind of has a little bit of everything to where, it works like a heavy medium, but against, like higher tiers, stuff with higher alpha, it can struggle a little bit. But this match, I end up doing 2,834 damage. I destroy 8 tanks, a little over 1,500 base experience, and as far as the damage goes, it didn't help that like half the team did 0 damage on my team, but more or less I did well over the amount of my entire team's damage worth. I almost double it, and by almost I was like 300 away from doubling the amount of my entire team's damage total. Alright, so starting out in this tank, I like to kind of pick out where I think like mediums, like squishier targets are. That way you can get a large amount of damage off early by playing aggressive because your armor allows you to bounce a little bit. You're going to want to angle this a little bit. Most of the frontal armor is, flat, but your sides are very weak, albeit they do have side skirts on it, but you really want to keep your sides somewhat protected because everything's going to penetrate it. So knowing that, there are 2 SPGs and there is this medium platoon, I decided to head this way. That way I can kind of use the good gun depression and kind of, hopefully run into some tanks where I can rack up damage really quickly, kind of gain a lead. Then you play a little bit more safely. That way you don't make any stupid mistakes. But starting out, it's switching to my actual view here. We see a Cruiser 4, good so far, but you never know what's going to pop up behind it when you're in a mid-tier match like this, because V ranges are a little bit worse off. As you see, he's a great shot, but no damage. Very easily take him out. The rate of fire of this thing's very good. Like a lot of tier 5, premium heavy tanks, they typically have like a little bit less alpha on them, but pretty good rate of fire. Now I come across a crap ton of tanks here in front of me. Right now there's 6 total tanks. A lot of them are tier 5s. One of them being that platoon. So my goal here is more or less, since the gun can be a little bit wonky, I have myself angled here. They can penetrate me here if they're lucky, but for the most part, staying here, I am safe outside of a medium trying to come up behind me, which is very unlikely with my backup, or coming here and sneaking in a shot from around this corner. I'm pretty safe setting up here outside of if the SPG hits me, like I said, I get flanked, or they start chucking premium rounds. But even with that, the front of the Excelsior and the rear, you can, add angles to it and it will deflect a lot of rounds since you're mainly going to be facing off against tier 5s. But I'm still just using regular rounds here. I'm not really in too much of a rush since a lot of these tanks in front of me have not the best armor. Like you get a couple bounces still, but luckily here I'm still full HP. We just lost 2 tanks behind me, which I start getting a little bit worried because with a low alpha high DPM gun, you do not want to be outnumbered as far as tanks getting damage on you, because compared to a high alpha gun where you can pop a tank and hopefully take a tank out quicker than having to use your high DPM to machine gun them down, you're going to be taking a lot more damage when you're outnumbered. At this point still, like I was straight onto here just in case they kept firing at me. We take down enough of those guys and they kind of pull back, which helps because I'm just slowly pivoting, kind of rocking back and forth while in sniper view. It's like this is the free cam view here, but I wasn't really paying attention outside of sniper view, except for the mini map, just seeing where, the people I know that are spotted. I'm just pivoting to give myself the best chance of blocking their shots here. But still at this point, I'm just using standard rounds because I still haven't taken a lick of damage. We're down by 2 tanks, but, unfortunately for these guys, they can't really get me out of this spot quick enough. And, I just got a couple bounces there from, unfortunately, the accuracy, as I kind of stated, it's not the best in the world. At this point, though, we tie it up, and, I'm at just about 1,500 damage here. I blocked 880, and still racking up the damage. Haven't taken any damage yet. When this thing is top tier, utilize its armor to your advantage. Just don't get shot in the sides. If you start getting shot by tier 6s, if you're in a match with that, that's when you have to start worrying, because the armor, it works very well against tier 5s, except for some tier 5 TDs, but not very well against higher tiers, which you're only going to see 6. At this point, though, 5 kills, 1,800 damage. This B1, I kind of feel bad because I know he can't really penetrate me, but at this point, I'm down to 4 AP rounds. And I swap over to APCR with my next shot here. At this point, better to get the B1 out and not worry. Now, we're still left. We're down 1 tank. This guy's basically dead. Matilda's out on his own. He's not going to last too long. And then we have, the IKEA 103, essentially. I know that's not its real name. At the enemy base with a Wesp. That poses a threat, artillery. However, I'm leaving it up to him to kill him, more or less, because it's better for me to go back to the base. There's 3 tanks there, plus an M4. They can cap out if I head to the SPG before I make it back. So, it's limited options based off of what the enemy could do. At this point, though, I'm just at basically 2,100 damage, 1,300 block, and 53 assist. And really, still at this point, with full HP, I'm more worried about running out of rounds here, because I do carry 8 HE rounds in case I'm in a higher tier match. At long range, say you're against like a T150, something with a little bit of armor behind it. Even if you run across like an AT2 at tier 5, just chuck some HE maybe as you close in ground. That way you're not wasting your standard rounds, but I'd rather try to damage their gun, stuff like that. But luckily this Hetzer makes a little bit of a mistake, and I don't finish him off here, which they start capping. Luckily our TD at the enemy team, kills the SPG, and at this point I'm like, shit, like I hope I don't get capped out, but I do have full HP because I played pretty smart in the beginning by not overextending. They didn't flank me, fortunately, but by not overextending, it really helped me out later on the match here, because I have full HP. I could have afforded to push out even further here and take a couple shots, but at this point I'm more or less just looking to reset them and stay somewhat safe. I have 7 kills, he has 4, and they're not going to have enough time to get back to the base without completely forgetting about me, which I have 20. This is basically all the damage I get here, but they either had the choice of going back to their cap, ignoring me, and I was just going to follow them and kill them one by one, but I needed to hit all my shots because honestly I need to carry, instead of 8 HE, I'd probably recommend like 5, maybe 4, but usually ammunition isn't that much of a concern in this thing. It's just, this is kind of one of the basically the best match I ever had in this. But at this point I'm just looking not to make any stupid mistakes, because if he caps out we win. If he gets reset and dies, I still have enough time against that M4, that would have went back to the base here. It's over now, to kill the Type T-34 and then worry about him. But had they killed me, it would have, basically, there was no point in me pushing out to the type because it wasn't going to do us any better, and really only had downsides in my opinion. But I could have pushed out on him. But anyway, getting to the end game screens here. Let's see. Mastery Badge, Ace Tanker. Whoopsie daisy. Radley Walters, Top Gun, Steel Wall, High Caliber, Defender. I think that's a lucky one too. And then the second image here, 2,800 damage, a little bit over. Easily the most amount on my team. Like I said, I blow past my entire team's total by about, I think, 1,200 damage, give or take a little bit. I blow by it. The enemy team, their SPG does good, the Hetzer, the Sherman, but still, most of those tanks were on the other side. All the tanks on my side, I didn't even give them a chance. As you see down there, there's the Cruiser 4, the PZ-4D, all the Streb M42s, the B1. They were all on my flank, and I just murdered them more or less, with a bit of help from my team. But it feels a little bit good seeing that total on your side of the map. And finally, the end game screen here, the last one. I blocked 1,300 damage. The Excelsior, like I said, when it's top tier, people are going to have a hard time penetrating you if you don't present your sides. You just add a little bit of angle to the front, try to work your way around like little hills because you have good gun depression, and you're going to bounce a lot of shots. Some TDs at tier 5, like I said, they can punch through your armor, especially because when you're shooting at them, your turret front is flat. But the armor on this thing is very good, front and back, across the whole turret too, for the most part. It's just sides you have to worry about, and if you're against 6s, definitely pick and choose your battles. Like tier 6 mediums, they'll bounce off of you at mid-range, but as you get closer, or if they get to your sides or throw premium, they have a pretty good chance to punch through your armor. And then, even with throwing some premium rounds, still made 33,000 credits. Premium on this tank does help a bit. It's not the end all be all, but it does help out quite a bit. Just going over to the things here behind the screen, 91 millimeters for the standard AP, and premium bumps that up to 144, which pretty significant margin, especially if you're against heavy tanks. You see, carrying enough of them is definitely worthwhile. Yes, they're expensive, but you're better off winning and throwing some premium rounds, paying for the call send rather than losing. You're going to come out on top. Unless you throw all APCR, then you're going to be blowing money left and right. But anyway, thanks again for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like I said, this was on my live stream, and it was a tank request. So feel free to drop by my live stream if you haven't watched it yet. I live stream here on YouTube several times a week. And I take tank requests as long as I have the tank, a crew for it, and I have it equipped up. I'll gladly play it for you. So stop on by. There's a a past live stream at the end of this video, if you guys want to click on that and take a peek if you haven't already. Otherwise, thanks again for watching. Hopefully you have a good day. See you around.